let's start. So 2 years ago, at the 2019 Lightning Talks, I made a small talk about an experiment that we were doing at the IT department at Banco BPI on adopting some flow concepts. And this talk is about 2 years later. Where are we basically, and what have we done since then? So, just a bit of context. I'm an engineering director at Banco BPI. My background is as a software engineer. And at Banco BPI, we've been doing Scrum since 2010, and we are certified CMMI level 3 since 2020. So we are very much into agile methodologies, but since we are a bank and we have to comply with lots and lots of ever-changing regulations, we put a very big emphasis on standardization and clear and explicit processes. So that's why we have CMMI level 3, but all in an agile setting. So we had those milestones achieved, and we wanted to decide what to do next. So, and usually everyone wants to be faster and more predictable, and it's a never-ending story, and we want to be faster and more predictable. So we were experimenting with flow concepts since 2019, as I said, on a small scale. And we basically focus on keeping the working process low, young, stable, and visible. And we also focus on pulling work, not pushing. So everyone who knows about Kanban knows what this means. And well, it kind of worked. We got shorter cycle times, and we managed to increase the on-time delivery, and those were good results. So we decided to scale it out. So we were doing some experiments with not much support on 10 teams, and we decided to scale to all of our department, which is about 100 teams. And as everyone who's tried to scale things by orders of magnitudes knows, that scaling is hard, and the scaling processes who deal with humans, it's much harder. So we knew that for this to be successful, we had to be careful and methodical in our endeavor. So we started with a plan, and we had to answer 4 questions. We had to answer how to ensure that these changes respect the different roles and stakeholders, because everyone has to be on board for something like this to work. We had to decide what changes to our process we should do, and we weren't going to throw away, and that was not the goal, throw away all the processes that we had in place and built over the years. So we had to start from where we were at the moment. We also have a custom work management tool. We don't use Jira or anything like that. We built our own tool several years ago, so that all the processes can be embedded in our tool, and that allows our teams to focus on their day-to-day work, and not on having to know by heart all the hundreds of rules that they need to follow. So our tool takes care of all of that. And we also had to think how we are going to roll out these new ideas and principles and processes to all those teams that are constantly changing, are focused on delivering, and we knew that we had to provide some support for this work. So we planned, and then we went to the the build phase. Let's call it that. And we did four main tasks. We prepared the training for the teams. We planned the workshop and designed the workshop. We created some training courses, and we defined a coaching process. It's maybe it's important to tell that, to as usual in these kinds of things, we do it all in house. We don't bring in external consultants to help us on these challenges, and we do it all in house. So we prepare this all in house. Okay, so we prepare training. We selected and trained 13 coaches, and they were volunteers from our own development team. So they were software developers, business analysts, product owners, testers, whatever, and they volunteered to help with coaching all the teams. We changed our custom work management tool to support our flow processes, and we built the minimum feature set in order to get this going. And we defined, obviously, a rollout calendar. During the rollout, we delivered a workshop and those training courses for each of those 100 Scrum teams. They all got personalized attention and care in order to get all the help they needed to make sure that they really understood the principles and the ideas, so that they could then make their own decisions on their day-to-day. One coach supported one or two teams at a time for 2 to 4 weeks, and that included daily touch points. So all the teams got that kind of support, and then we adjusted the calendar and trained new coaches whenever needed, because obviously the plan never goes as perfectly as we may have hoped. And actually, I'm one of those persons who believes that the plan should be adjusted. So this is not, at least for me, a great concern. And we did that rollout. So what happened basically? We can see that the managing WIP for Flow is the basis of everything, and we started managing WIP, and we brought it down significantly because we started to looking at it. And I should remember that there's a little law that says that if you decrease the working process, then on average you also decrease cycle time, so the time it takes to do a task. And we were able to decrease this WIP and keep it a bit more manageable, a bit more stable, as you can see in the past few months. And we also started to give a much more visibility and so much more care to the team's impediments on a day-to-day basis. We already had in our process the idea of impediments, but we brought it to the foreground, and we can see by the increasing number of impediments that were registered that it really made a difference, and the team started to actively manage all those blocks and impediments that they have on a day-to-day basis. And as a result, some of those results, we achieved 30% shorter cycle times from the moment a team started to work on a user request until it's delivered to the user. And we also got 20% more throughput, so the number of work items increased by 20%, and this is an ongoing work. And the main takeaways for Flow: so manage your WIP, be sure that all your teams are aware of the WIP that they are carrying on their back, and it should be as low as possible for the size of the team. The team should remember that it should pull work, so focus on the things that are closer to the finish line and start pulling, not pushing work. And they also should keep their work items young. So if you have a request that has 100, 200, 300 days, depends on your context. Well, it can be a bad smell, and you should strive to make sure that if you start work on an item, then be sure that you finish that item. And finally, trust your people. As I said, we've done this with all in house. And if we couldn't trust our people, if we couldn't get volunteers to do the hard work, this could not be done. And that's about it. So thank you.